Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely a pleasure to be here again on a Tuesday night. March series done. The real stuff starts. Boys, bloody great to be here. Good to see you. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, cheers, Butsy. Looking forward to doing another podcast. I think we all enjoyed the last two we've done, so yeah, looking forward to talk about the mids.
G'day, boys. Let's get cracking, eh?
Bloody oath. Let's not muck around. Who are we starting with? We're doing the midfielders and Ruckman this week. Midfielders really important. You nail them early. Gee, sets you up for a really good year. And we're going to start with the gun, the outside player from the Western Bulldogs, Jack McRae.
Yeah, well, boys, he's the highest priced midfielder. What's he at? $668K. He's the third highest price player behind Gawn and Grundy. I think he's an absolute lock this season. Ball magnet who uses it well. Mainly an outside footballer, but isn't afraid to win his own footy. Last two seasons averaged mid to high 120s. There's no reason why he can't get that or even add to that up around the high 120s. Hopefully, if he can go forward a bit more and hopefully snag a few. He's a genuine lock. He was my second pick player behind Grundy. I just think he's an absolute stone cold moral to score 120 every week. Finished the season off. What was that? Last 10 rounds, didn't get below 100. So Mr. Consistent. I think you can't leave him out, boys.
Yeah, I reckon you're spot on. I took him out at one stage for like 5 minutes, and I looked at my team and I'm like, nah, doesn't look right. He needs to be in. I think he's an absolute lock. Yeah, as you said, 2 years of 120 plus. You can't go wrong selecting someone that's had 2 years in a row of 120 plus. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
The thing I love about McRae is averages 33 touches, rarely gets tagged, obviously with Bontempelli on that side, and Dunkley. I wouldn't say he really hurts you as much with his metres gains. Aren't that great. But what he does do, jeepers, he is a beautiful kick of the footy, 74% disposal efficiency, the whole reason. We know SuperCoach is all about efficiency, don't we? And yeah, and again, an absolute lock, even though I don't have him on the side.
Yeah, it's not like we've seen in previous years either where like Gary Ablett and all that sort of stuff have been over the 700 mark. He's definitely affordable. He's only 6K down from nearly 13K off Fife. So I think if you're going to spend big, I think McRae's probably the option you go with. Lockie Neal, Butsy.
Yeah, what a brilliant year he had, the Glenelg boy or Narracourt boy from down our way. Had an absolute outstanding year. Was his first year. Freo gave him up pretty cheaply, looking back. But yeah, 26-year-old midfielder, 150-odd games, brilliant football. Just a genuine footballer. Like, isn't overly quick, isn't a great kick, but like Tommy Mitchell, just a really, really good footballer. Has a footballer's brain. The last 4 years, consistent as ever, 112, 109, 112, 121, his averages. And last year just absolutely went to another level. And gee, we saw some scores from him. Hit the 190 last year, hit 148, 142, 177, 140, and started the year off on fire. The thing that you want to question with him is Brisbane going forward. I wouldn't say they've got a genuine A-grade midfielder outside of Lockie Neal. If anyone's going to get tagged, it's going to be him. But saying that, still produced some pretty high numbers, still is getting that 20 possessions when getting tagged. I've looked away from him this year just because he's very expensive and I feel he's a little bit of a risk and there's probably better players around him. But saying that, yeah, he's definitely someone you can't go wrong with. I still think he's going to average over 110 this year, which is exactly what you'd like from him. What do you guys reckon?
Well, we seen last year when he did come against their sides at tag. You got Toit Miller from Gold Coast. De Boer didn't play. I don't think he got 151, but there's some games where he scored in the high 70s, early 80s when he did get tagged. So I think you're right, Butsy. I think that's a bit of a red flag for mine. Obviously, he's in the middle, front and centre all the time. He loves getting the handball out. whereas he's different about Craig. McCrae obviously loves getting the handball out on the outside. I think a Tagger's dream would be playing against Neil. If they tag him more often, I don't see myself picking him either.
And why do you think he's a Tagger's dream?
Because he's always front and center. He runs well. He gets every contest around the ground. I watched that game. Watched that game last year with Gold. He was my captain for that Gold Coast game, and just every contest he was at, Miller was just there. Tagging his jumper, doing the annoying stuff, and Neil didn't seem to handle that very well.
And I think it's because I don't think he's never really been tagged before because he's always played behind Fife. But again, do you reckon it's that leg speed? He's just got no explosiveness.
I wouldn't say it's that. It's more the body type, wouldn't it be? Because, obviously, he doesn't have the strongness of someone like Fife, Bond, Cripps that generally get tagged. With Neil, you can body him out. He's easy to tackle. That's the way I see it. And obviously, they're going to do it this year. They're going to be tagging him. Because if you don't tag him, he's going to get 30-plus disposals every week. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. And he isn't damaging either. I don't think he's the greatest ball user. I think the good thing about him is he does get a lot of contested possessions, which obviously super coaches love. If he can find a way to shake off a tag, games against teams that don't have taggers, I think he's shown last year he can get the high 140s, 150s. So he's definitely one to think about. I'm not going near him. I think there's better options that are more valuable for the price they're at. But yeah, he's definitely a good player.
Nat Fife, it's fair to say, I don't know who's doing him, but cheap is you can't go past him. Surely not.
Yeah, I've got him, Butsy, and he's in my side currently at the minute. Actually, I wasn't too happy with him though. Me and him had a discussion earlier about Josh Kelly, and I've gone Fife over Kelly. But yeah, obviously,
you are kidding
Fife.
me. Did you guys? You are going Kelly over him.
I am going Kelly. Yeah, we'll discuss that.
Rest in peace.
We'll discuss that in a second, Butsy. Just relax, please, for a second, mate.
Oh, my God.
I love the support there, Butsy. So obviously, Nathan Fife from Fremantle.
I don't think we need to
all
talk
know him.
Yeah, we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about
He was the Brownlow medalist last year, so that speaks volumes enough as it is, and we all know he's a great Supercoach player. He averaged 120 on just about on the dot over 20 games. And he, in one of the games, he suffered a concussion, scored about 68, and that was at the start of the second quarter, so he would have been in for a big game then as well. So obviously, the problem with Fife is if you're not going to be selecting him is his durability. He misses a lot of games due to injury, but not enough compared to someone like Josh Kelly. Obviously, last year he finished with 20 games. The year before was 15, and then the year before that was 21. And a lot of the times he hits 18 or 19 games. So there's still a bit of risk in selecting him, but obviously if he's fit and healthy, he's guaranteed to be at least top 5 in Supercoach. There's no doubt about it. So that's basically my thoughts. And also with talking about the Josh Kelly thing, I don't think you can start both of them because of their injury history. You don't really want two blokes that could potentially be out a number of weeks, even if they're out maybe 4 or 5 games a year each, that's just going to kill you in Supercoach. Yeah, that's basically my thoughts, boys. What do you think?
Look, I love Fife. I've had him probably in my side for the last, even prior his leg break, I had him in his team, and even after leg break, he's in my team. I've gone a different direction this year. I don't know why I have, but it might pay off for me. But no, he's definitely good. He's definitely probably in the top 3 footballers in the league, without a doubt. Umpires love him. He wears fluoro boots. He wears the headband. He wears the armband. He just plays like a good footballer. He's probably in most teams. He's just not in mine, boys.
Paddy Cripps. Again.
Yeah, Paddy Cripps. He's also a lock for mine. He carried Carlton on his back for the last 2 seasons, 3 seasons even. And with Carlton expected to rise the ladder, I don't think they will, but some are expecting Carlton to do a bit of damage this season. I just feel like he's going to take his footy to another level. He averages 117, 119 the last 2 seasons. Gets plenty of hard ball touches. He generally uses the ball okay. And we've seen him go forward and take a good mark and kick a goal. So he's a beast footballer, and he deserves to be locked in most sides, I think. And as goes to show, he's in 51% of teams. So he isn't a pod, but I think he's just a consistent footballer. You've got to have him in your team, I think.
Yeah. Dunkley, the Western Bulldogs midfielder, forward turn midfielder. Some who had him at the start of the year apparently did really, really well with him, like myself.
Yeah, I really like this kid, Josh Dunkley from Bulldogs. I really want him in my side, and I've probably moved him in and out, 100 times. I haven't made up my mind between him and Dangerfield. And I just reckon he's a good, sneaky pod this year. He's only at 11% ownership. And from that time he spent forward, obviously he wasn't scoring very well. I don't think he hit a ton once, but they're all roughly around 80s to 90s. But once he moved in that midfield, boys, he was on fire. From round 7 onwards to round 22, he averaged 126, which probably would have put him the highest, I believe. Yeah, that would have put him the highest average if it was from round 7 to round 22.
Now, the only thing I think about Dunkley is, can you have 2 midfielders from the same team in your
easy.
side?
We've done that plenty of times.
Yeah, I think you can, but I've gone Bont and McRae. I just think they're all different players in their own right, and I think there's plenty of points up for grabs for both of them to average. All 3 of them to average over 110. So it's just a matter of which balance you want to go for, whether it is Dunkley, Bont, Bont, McRae, or Dunkley and McRae. So I think they're all options. They're all good options. There's no bad option in this situation. This is whatever you feel like going, I think.
Yeah, well, 3 of them finished in the top 9, so surely you can pick 2 if 3 of them finish in the top 9 in midfielders at the end of the year.
I think they're going to steal. I think they're going to steal points, and I have picked none this year.
None. You must be the only person I've heard that has no Bulldog player in their side.
No Bulldogs players for me.
This is massive. Coming from a bloke who wants Wingard in his team.
I love him. I love him as a pod. I would not be opposed to anyone selecting him. I reckon he's a great pick. I'll keep moving him in and out, so I don't know if I'll have him at the end.
Butsy, Tommy Mitchell.
I'll give you a genuine pod. Tommy Mitchell, boys. I have slotted him in. He is in my Supercoach side for 2020.
That's interesting.
I think he is the best player in the game, probably outside of Dustin Martin in his fight. Not consistently, but Dusty in his finals, the end of the season stuff. But from a 23-round perspective, I think he is the best player in the comp. He is a genuine football brain, left footer, beautiful kick, probably doesn't hurt teams. But yeah, just absolutely racks them up. 119 and 130 the last 2 years he's played. You've got to remember, he only broke his leg. Coming back from a broken leg, which his wasn't too bad, isn't too hard compared to an ACL or an Achilles, which Sam Doherty's done. I'm not worried about him. I thought he played really well in the Marsh series. I think he sort of eased himself into it. I think he'll probably start a bit slower and maybe hit a couple of hundreds early on. But I think by round 4 or 5, he's going to start exploding. He's not going to get tagged. He doesn't get tagged. He's not quick enough, not damaging enough to get tagged, but far out. The kid can play. And I love him. And yeah, I've put him in. 630k, not too bad of a price. He's a big risk. Don't get me. He's probably in more of a risky, not more than a lock. I've slotted him in there.
Yeah, it can define a season in Supercoach, can't it? Someone that can score easily over 120. That's the risk you take. Yeah, I liked his Marsh series as well, but I didn't see him get as many uncontested possessions like he normally would, like lead up marking, and otherwise, his inside skills was still the same. So yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't gone near him just yet. He's certainly one that you know he's going to get 30 touches a game. It's just that matter of how he uses it. Freak footballer, obviously has won around the middle for a reason. I think he's an absolute freak. He's just not in my team at the moment.
Marcus Bontempelli.
The Bont is firmly in my team at the moment.
Very
and
cheap
I
as well.
can't see myself getting rid of him. He's so explosive. He loves going forward, loves kicking a goal. Obviously, 2018 he averaged 104. Last year, averaged 114. He's hitting the prime of his career now. Expect him to jump up to that 120, and I think that's good enough for his price. More than good enough, in my opinion. His lowest score last year was only 70, so he hit a few 70s, but he also hit a few high numbers. So I think he's a consistent footballer, and I think he'll just get 110, 124 each week.
Do you reckon he's... Oh, you go, Butsy. Sorry, mate.
I'm concerned about Bont. I feel like he's had one good Supercoach year. I don't feel that as a premium midfielder, you could say 107 is a good year. You wouldn't pay money for that. I think he's had one good year, which was last year, averaging 114. Don't get me wrong, great year. But I think we found out how to beat him. You've got to play physical against him. GWS did that. It was a team effort. De Boer obviously tagged him. He had 13 disposals. And what happened to Bulldogs that day? They got pumped. I feel you go after Bontempelli, you go after their playmaker, you go after the one that wins the ball. Obviously, we know we're talking about McRae, an outside player. Dunkley's still coming into his shoes. Still a really good player, don't get me wrong. But it all starts from Bont. Bont's an absolute genuine gun. I feel like you stop him, and which a lot of teams are going to try and do now. They've worked it out, I think. I think Bont's going to... I don't think he'll average over 110 this year, which isn't a bad thing because you'd still take it. But no, I don't think he's going to have a breakout.
So the thing about taggers is that there aren't many taggers in the league. What is there? Probably De Boer, Toik Miller, maybe Dylan Clark from the Dons. You've seen Cripps last season when he got tagged by Dylan Clark from the Dons. He only got I think he got 16 touches and 60 SuperCoach points. So I don't think that's going to worry me with Bont. I think if he gets tagged, I think he can go forward and kick you 3 goals a game and still get that 90 SuperCoach points. So I think there's ways around him avoiding a tag, especially with Dunkley moving into there. If Dunkley starts off the season brilliantly, they'll end up going. I think they'll tag him. So I think Bont might escape a few tags this season if they do choose to tag him. I just think he's a consistent footballer, and I don't think he's going to get down too often.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting. So, and our last probably real lock. So all these players have been locks. Clary Oliver from Melbourne Football Club won the best.
I think we're missing one more lock.
Josh Kelly, boys.
Oh,
no, Patrick Dangerfield.
Oh, we missed him.
You're seriously not considering Patrick Dangerfield?
Man, not for me.
I feel we don't even have to talk about him. He's in my side. He's going to average 115.
Exactly.
No.
So I don't.
He's not in Atchie's side though.
No.
Not a surprise.
Haven't thought of him,
mate. This guy has one of the best Supercoach histories there's been, and without Tim Kelly this year taking midfield minutes, who else are going to plug in the middle? They're not going to be chucking just young blokes in there. They want to win a premiership. They want him in the middle.
Yeah.
They've picked up they got 3 key forwards now, and they got these young blokes. They're going to have him in there.
And he's not going to. There's going to be no chance for him to play forward this year. With three key forwards. So, and I feel,
and the history, compared to Bonds, you got 121, or you got 115 last year, then 121, 136, 131. They're the years prior.
How can you go past
So I'd take that easy over like 114, one good year, then all under 110.
And they've lost their bet, and they've lost their pretty much probably their best player from last year. Like, jeepers, this guy's going to go berserk. Clayton Oliver. Why I'm really, really liking him, he's not in my team, but why I'm really, really liking him this year, he was the reason Melbourne had a really bad year last year. There was about 15 of their list had surgeries. So their preseason training was literally with like 15 to 20 blokes, like he didn't have Apsley. So they didn't have the luxury of winning games. Clayton Oliver actually had a shoulder injury, had a shoulder surgery at the end of that year after they lost the prelim to West Coast at West Coast. come back, won their best and fairest, and still had a very, very good year. Averaged 109. That's his first year under 110 for the last 3. He's going to go to another level. I'm really looking forward to what this kid can do. He's only 22 years old, boys. He hasn't even played 100 games yet. This kid's going to be a gun.
I tell you what is getting me at the moment is how he's not in more than 12% of teams. He should be up around the 40% mark for mine. He's cheap. You look around his price and you got Yo and Gaff, Boak, Zorko. I just think putting them in order. I think Clayton is so far above them with his ceiling. Loves the hard ball. Use the ball okay. His early years, he wasn't a good ball user. I think that's every preseason he has. He's getting better with the ball use. Yeah, I don't see why teams aren't picking him. 12% of teams, that is ridiculous in mine, Daniel.
I think it's just because, an extra 20K, you're getting that gun that is going to be reliable. Even though he's going to be really good, I'd rather spend an extra 20K on someone like Dangerfield that's going to be consistent for me. I just don't know if he's going to be the year that he was 114 or, you don't know what Melbourne's going to be like, and I think that's going to affect his scoring. If he's not, Melbourne aren't doing well, I don't think he's going to score as well because he's not going to be able to hit a target inside forward 50. That's just my opinion.
Is he someone, if he starts the season off well, do you think if he makes you like 50 grand in the first couple of weeks, is he someone you can sort of trade up to a Cray?
No, that's an absolute waste of a trade.
No.
Absolute waste of a trade. You can't just
the only reason
make 50K from a primo.
The only reason
so are they
590K.
So either you have him or you don't, boys. That's pretty much the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And you could pick him up mid-year, but you're buying him to have him for the season. Any player you're bringing in that's over 500K, you're bringing them in so that hopefully you don't trade them for the year. Otherwise, it's just a waste. Trades are like gold. We know that.
Yeah, so you want them to be top 8. So that's why anyone under Clayton Oliver isn't really an option because we think that those ones above him are going to be top 8. So
yeah.
All right, boys. This is mine here, boys. If you don't mind.
Yep.
Josh Kelly. He's by far the Giants' best footballer for mine.
Agree.
He averaged 114 over the last 3 seasons straight. I know he's had a few interrupted seasons, but all reports in this preseason he killed the State of Origin match. Played very, very good football in the JLT game. He's just missing consistent. Only 3 scores of 100 last season. 11 of the tons he scored, 8 were over 120. If he can play 20 games plus this season, there's no reason why he can't average mid-120s. And for me, that's probably the top 5 SuperCoach scores. He's an absolute lock, in my opinion. If he can stay fit, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't pick him.
Yep, I've got him in actually. I rate the kid. I rate the kid so much. I wanted him to come to North Melbourne. I reckon he's just a genuine footballer, lovely left footer, and just runs like the wind. Again, I feel he is an absolute. Feel he's a lock for me. Obviously, durability is a big one, but 630K, it's worth the risk. I feel.
Absolutely, Butsy. Thank you for backing me up on that. I know Dan's firmly against it.
I just don't want the risk of him getting injured. And, it's the Giants players. They've done it to me year in, year out. I know that's not the way you're supposed to think. It's supposed to be a different year. But, the Toby Greens, Zach Williams, Kelly. I've had Kelly. I think I traded him in 1 week and then he got injured the next. And I was just like, I don't want to be doing that again this year.
And I think, is he a pod?
He's had this has been his highest season. And he played 14 games. He scored 117. That's been his highest.
He'll get over 110 this year.
Yeah, but he's been around that mark for the last 3 seasons, even though he's only played that 15 games. If he can play,
he can easily go 120. I believe he's in that.
If he can stay fit, if he plays 18 games plus, I'll be happy with. Well,
no, you want more than
20. I think 18 is the lowest you can go, but I think if he can play 20 more, he will be in the top echelon of SuperCoach scorers, I think.
It'll depend. Like, if he's out for 4 weeks straight, then you'll probably trade him out. You won't keep him for 4 weeks.
I think that's most players, though, isn't it? I think most players aren't worth keeping on. Any player can get injured. He might not get injured at all. He might be, fit as a fiddle this season, which by all reports he is. So I'm jumping on board.
And we'll just quickly run through the rest of the midfield, the risky picks, and just a yes, no, and a quick why, and we'll just try and pump these through. Stephen Caniglio, a no for me. Probably just there's better players around him. You can go up 40k or whatever it is to get Clary Oliver, but definitely someone I might look to trade in towards mid-year.
I'll save you some time, boys. Big no.
That'll sum that one up. Yeah, no. Yeah, for the same reasons, his durability and, there's definitely better players to select it. About 50 extra K.
Tim Kelly, boys. Also a big no from me. I just think I think West Coast have a better midfield than what the Cats did. I think you got Gaff, Yo. I don't think you can get that 115 that he really you want from him. I think he'll be more 105, 110, which I'll probably just leave alone for this season. I think
he'll probably be the one that probably moves more forward too, wouldn't you think?
Yeah,
he's probably the one that can play up there.
And probably a wing too. I think Gaff is known as a wing player. I think Gaff...
Because there's Shuey as well.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's a no for me.
No for me. I feel like he's still coming into his own. I think he had a great year, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's... Yeah, I just don't think... I can't see him averaging more than 105. And as a midfielder, you don't want that. Waste of money. Elliot Yeo, I absolutely love. He's one of my favourite players in the comp. Just a really hard footballer, really honest footballer. For me though, not a SuperCoach player.
He's not SuperCoach relevant, but an absolute star of the game.
I hate him, boys. To be honest.
Great call.
I know why you hate him, but
if it was, I'll tell you what. If it wasn't for bloody his goal in the granny, I think we might have got up over the line. But anyway, we'll move on from that.
We can thank the runner for that one.
Yeah, buddy. Anyway.
So an interesting dilemma we've all had, and we've already been talking about before the podcast. Jack Steven, Devon Smith, both, and it's a bit weird talking about them in this podcast because they're probably, but where everyone's looking to have them in there as a forward, because we know how hard it is to find forwards that average over 90 without paying big bucks for them. At the moment, I've got both in. I really like their games in the Marsh series. Dev was back to his tackling best, hit over 100, 10 tackles, about 20 touches, played half forward, which is a little bit concerning. But I'll take 90 plus from him, no worries, especially at that price and with a lack of rookies. And Jack Steven as well. Jeepers, first game I've seen him play in 2 years where he's actually been decent. And got back to his line-breaking best. Fitness is going to be the issue. Big red flags all over him, but Jeepers, he looked good yesterday, boys.
I tell you what, I would absolutely love to tap both of them, but I just don't think it's going to work this season. If you want to have 5 premier midfielders, I don't think you can have both of them in your forward line. It's one or the other. I don't think you're going to go wrong with pick either of them. I think the only thing heading me towards Smith
is less risk.
I think Stephen's more of a risk.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the fact that the history that Stephen's had, obviously with the mental health issues and the injuries he's had, I just think Smith is more of a liable option at this stage of the season. I think, boys.
Yeah, spot on.
So maybe we'll just quickly go through our rookies and then we'll just move on to our rucks. So at the moment, and we'll just say yes or no, and who we've got. So Matt Roll from Gold Coast, I have.
Yeah, lock him in.
Yeah, he's definitely a lock, boys.
He's built. He already looks like a senior football player.
He's a gun.
Very easy one. Marlon Pickett, yes.
Yeah, everyone locked him in before SuperCoach was ready.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now this is where it gets concerning. I haven't really found anyone else.
Tom Green is a good option from Giants.
I've gone Tom Green, boys.
Although he's sitting at 160k.
I had Mick Henry in from the Crows for a while, but I moved him to my bench. I think Tom Green had a couple of good JLT games, so I've put Green in my side.
Shout out to the relation there, old Greenie, related to him.
Congratulations, Matty.
Claiming that. Who are you boys? Who are you boys set on? Because I haven't really seen too much else.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I'm just waiting till they get selected. I have not looked at anything else.
I think Real and Pickett are obviously the two main ones. You can throw in Dylan Stevens from the Swans, who's had a. You got McHenry I've just mentioned. I've gone Green, so they're my three: Green, Real, and Pickett. I think it's definitely a toss-up. You got Noah Anderson as well from the Gold Coast Suns, pick 2. I don't think you can have Real and Anderson in the same team, so it's definitely one spot available. I think I'm going with Green, but I'm not 100% certain.
Yep. So boys, midfield's done. And we'll obviously next week's episode will be a bit of a team reveal, who we're going with before Thursday night, round 1. Hopefully the coronavirus allows some of us to go watch it live. Hopefully.
Imagine how crazy that's going to be, boys. Like, we're watching AFL, someone kicks a goal, it's unreal, and it's just pitch quiet. There's no cheer at all.
I'll tell you a funny story. I walked into Mum and Dad's house on Saturday, just absolutely carrying the family. Brought in some toilet paper from Edenhope because there was none in Horsham. What a time to be alive!
Yeah, bloody hell.
2020 for you.
I think the world's gone mad, boy. I can't see the AFL doing that because then got the fans with memberships and that sort of stuff. Nothing the AFL walk out thousands and thousands of dollars to.
Yeah, for sure.
To not have crowds there.
For sure, and I think moving on. The Rucks, which is, again, going to be very, very, very similar. We obviously know there's only 2 ruckmen in each team, plus a bench ruckman, which most people use as a loophole for their captain. Daniel, who have you gone and why?
Oh, well, obviously I've gone the locks in Grundy and Gawn. Like, for me, there's just no doubt. Like, I'm not worried about the injury with Gawn. I know he can still play. All he needs to do is do the taps. It was a bit rusty in his first Marshall game in week 2. Like, he could have... I think he scored, 68 in the first half. And, like, he dropped a lot of marks that he should have taken. Obviously, he's averaged 120 plus the last 2 seasons. And when he came back from an injury last year, he followed it up with a 151. And I remember the week that he got injured, Butler's like, you got to trade him out, man. He's injured. He's going to cost you. You need to bring in Goldstein. He's killing it. And, he got me the win at the end of the year with a 212. And everyone's got Grundy. Everyone's got Grundy. 2 seasons, 130. He doesn't look like he's going to slow down. So, yeah, they're my 2.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. You can't even look past Grundy. I think Grundy's probably the first big player in most teams. And Gawn as well. Gawn only averaged 2 less than what Grundy did. So, based on that, you can't. I don't think you can leave both of them out. Because if Gawn does start off the season, a bit proppy, it's a long season, boys. You got to remember that. And once he comes good, he'll come good. So if you have him out, it's going to be bloody hard to trade up to him, I think.
What do you think, Buds? Because you didn't have him earlier this year.
No, I don't have him still. I've gone Grundy and Nick Nat-Nui. I think
still got Nick Nat.
Nick Nat's ceiling is very high. If he can average 105 for me, make me a couple of 100k, 150k at least, and I could even keep him. I'm a little bit concerned about Gawn's injuries over the pre-season, especially the fact that he's a tall player. If it was a midfield, I wouldn't be too worried, but we know that ruckmen are very important, so can be rested very quickly.
So, Butsy, are you not worried about the fact that Nat-Nui is very injury prone? He'll either score, he'll get you 140, but he'll also get you a 50. You're not worried about the consistency of Gawn. You know what you're going to get with Nat-Nui. You got no idea what you're going to get.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have Gawn. Don't get me wrong about that. I'm not picking.
That's
him.
how you have Stephen and Devon.
I'm not picking him because I don't want him. I'm picking him because I probably can't afford him. I feel like I might be able to make some money and do a better trade towards the mid-year and get something a bit better out of it. We'll see how we go though. But yeah, I'd love to have him. Don't get
big risk.
Yeah, it is completely.
Because they play a lot of rucks. The Eagles. They've got Hickey, Vardy. Who else do they have? They have someone else. Yeah, but obviously they're going to get rotated as well, and he might not play a lot of game minutes, Nick Nat, like he has the last couple of years. So yeah, big risk.
If we're looking outside our Grundys, Gorns, Goldsteins, very probably all over 600k, I'm pretty sure Goldie is, and we wanted to save a little bit of money, who do we think we'd go for?
For mine, boys, I think Rowan Marshall's a very good pick. I watched the game on TV, the JLT Collingwood and Saints, and him and Grundy were going at it. And half time, I think Marshall had 12 touches, where Grundy only had 4. I know it was a practice match and that sort of stuff, but I think Marshall, I think he'll dominate a lot of teams. And I think he's proven to play well against the Gawn and Grundy type. So I think if you go with Marshall option, I don't think you're going to get let down by him. The only worry there is obviously Paddy Ryder coming in, but I think his ruck career is probably coming to a close. I think he's more of a forward now. Obviously, with Josh Bruce going, I think you'll see Paddy play a lot of time down forward. So I don't think Marshall's going to be a bad pick for anyone.
I agree, but I also reckon Marshall's better up forward than what Ryder's going to be, so that might transition into like a permanent thing later on in the year. Obviously, he had a ripper year last year, but I just they're set and forget, and I don't think he's going to finish top 3. So there's no way I'm even going to consider him between 2.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think he can go past Gawn and Grundy for mine.
Yeah. And just the last little thing, rookies that you guys, who's that rookie bench spot you're going to put on? Are you going to use it to try and make some money like people made money with Riley from Adelaide last year in the ruck, or are you going to go the more traditional route of doing the captaincy loophole and playing a player who's predominantly playing on Sunday?
See, I'm very bullish about Darcy Cameron. Being a Pies man, I'd love to see him play. If Cox has a few bad weeks, expect to see Darcy get that chance to play. Great hands, good set shot, can give Grundy a chop out. It's just a matter of him getting to get that game time. He's my man here, but I think you can probably go with Coombs or Zeri from North. They play a lot of Sunday games, so you can use that loophole either of them two, I think.
Yeah, I agree with 100% with what Atchie said. If none of them start, I'm probably just going to have Darcy Cameron sitting there on the ruck bench, because I think it's almost guaranteed that he probably plays sometime this year. Bucks really likes him. It's just when he decides to take out Cox once he realises that everyone else wants Darcy Cameron in.
Yeah. I'm going Cherry. North Melbourne play, I think, 12 Sunday games this year, which is going to be fantastic for my loophole. But he's actually going to be the number 2 ruckman. Ben Brown's out for the first 2 rounds, which could maybe make him probably looking good to be playing round 1. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, definitely have a look. It's nothing worse than your vice captain hitting a 160 and then not being able to use it.
Yeah, I agree. Just before we finish up, boys, I just want to just to our Instagram. I've SuperCoach listening. Putting up our weekly scores, the ins and outs of the players and that sort of stuff. That maybe the teams on a Thursday night. So be sure to give that a follow. If you feel like it, I guess. Yeah,
good on you. Well, thanks, boys. One more podcast, round 1, 9 days away. Bloody excited.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a ripper.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Good on you. Have a good night, lads.